In today's world, success is loud. It's measured in money, likes, followers, and hustle. But what if the greatest philosopher of all time told you that this version of success is an illusion? This is what Socrates believed, and it's why, by his standard, most people will never be truly successful. Socrates once said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." It wasn't just a poetic line, it was a challenge to ask, why do I want success? Whose dream am I chasing? Do I even know what I believe? Most people don't ask those questions. They just run faster, work harder, and scroll endlessly without direction. Socrates would say, "You're not living, you're just existing." Socrates didn't trust the crowd. He saw how easily people are swayed by opinions, praise, and trends. That's why he questioned everything, and why the city of Athens sentenced him to death. Not because he was wrong, but because he made people uncomfortable. He held up a mirror, and they didn't like what they saw. Can you handle that mirror? We confuse appearance for success, but Socrates didn't care about wealth, status, or even comfort. He cared about truth. True success, he believed, is about knowing yourself, understanding your values, living with purpose, even if no one notices, even if it costs you everything. Because the real tragedy isn't failing, it's succeeding at something that doesn't matter. If you've never questioned your own life, if your dreams are just copies of someone else's, if you're living to impress others, then Socrates would say, you're not succeeding, you're just sleepwalking. The goal isn't to be admired, it's to be authentic. You don't need more hustle, you need clarity. You need to stop running and start reflecting. You need to ask, what kind of person am I becoming? Am I living a life worth living? Am I brave enough to question myself? Most won't, but you can. Because success, real success, starts not with a goal, but with a question. Socrates was executed for seeking truth, but he left behind a challenge that still stands today. Don't just live, examine, reflect, wake up, and only then will you be truly successful. Subscribe for more ancient wisdom with modern power. Comment below. What question are you afraid to ask yourself?
In a world driven by achievement, recognition, and material gain, the modern definition of success is deeply flawed. We measure it in salaries, social media followers, titles, and possessions. Yet, beneath this glossy surface lies an epidemic of burnout, anxiety, and existential dissatisfaction. Over 2,000 years ago, the Greek philosopher Socrates issued a warning that reverberates louder today than ever before. The unexamined life is not worth living. His message was not one of pessimism, but of challenge, a call to look beyond the illusions of success and towards something deeper, more enduring, and more human. The modern mirage of success. Success today is primarily external. We are conditioned to believe that a successful person is someone who is productive, affluent, and admired. Children are told to get good grades so they can get good jobs. Adults work tirelessly to maintain careers, homes, and lifestyles that signal their achievement to others. But rarely do we ask the most important questions. What is all of this for? Who am I becoming? Does this truly fulfill me? This is where Socrates enters the conversation not as an ancient relic, but as a mirror held up to our ambitions. His philosophy wasn't concerned with wealth or accomplishment, but with wisdom, virtue, and the soul's alignment with truth. In his view, a person who never questions their values, choices, or the meaning of their life is not only misguided, but is wasting the very potential of their existence. Socrates and the art of self-examination. Socrates spent his life in the streets of Athens, questioning people about their beliefs, often exposing how little they truly understood. He claimed to know nothing, yet in doing so, he knew more than those who believed themselves wise. His goal was not to humiliate, but to awaken, to ignite in others the spark of self-examination. To Socrates, the measure of a person's success was not what they owned or achieved, but the degree to which they knew themselves. He believed that knowledge without introspection leads to arrogance, and action without purpose leads to ruin. In contrast, a life grounded in constant reflection could produce wisdom, humility, and genuine fulfillment. 3 warnings Socrates would give modern society. If Socrates were alive today, he would likely issue the following 3 warnings to modern society. Number 1. You confuse information with wisdom. The digital age has made knowledge accessible like never before. We can Google anything in seconds, yet we often mistake this access for understanding. Socrates would remind us that knowing facts is not the same as grasping meaning. True wisdom comes from asking the right questions, not collecting the right answers. Number 2. You pursue pleasure instead of meaning. Consumer culture teaches us to equate happiness with consumption. We are constantly sold the idea that pleasure is the same as purpose. Socrates would see this as a dangerous path. He argued that virtue, not comfort, is the foundation of a good life. When we trade purpose for pleasure, we sacrifice our potential for depth, growth, and real joy. Number 3. You avoid the discomfort of truth. Socrates made people uncomfortable. He challenged them to think deeply and confront contradictions in their beliefs. Today, we avoid discomfort at all costs. We surround ourselves with affirmations, distractions, and echo chambers that reinforce our existing views. But without discomfort, there is no growth. Without questioning, there is no truth. The path of success isn't always easy. Like and subscribe for more videos. If not, you will never be successful. Redefining success in Socratic terms. So what does true success look like through the eyes of Socrates? It is not a destination, but a process. It is the ongoing pursuit of truth, integrity, and self-awareness. It is living in alignment with one's values, not society's expectations. It is being more concerned with the health of the soul than the size of one's bank account. Such a definition of success demands courage. It asks us to slow down, to reflect, to challenge ourselves and the world around us. It requires us to listen more than we speak, to seek wisdom more than status, and to measure our worth not by what we own, but by how deeply we live, the success we ignore. Socrates' legacy is not in the books. He wrote none, but in the questions he left behind. His warning to modern society is clear: a life spent chasing status and possessions, without ever turning inward, will ultimately be empty. Until we begin to redefine success in terms of character, virtue, and reflection, we may find that no matter how far we climb, we are still standing on hollow ground. True success, in the Socratic sense, is available to all but pursued by few. The choice is ours to follow the crowd towards surface-level achievements, or to walk the harder path of self-knowledge and wisdom. One leads to applause, the other to a meaningful life.